Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Flippa webinar. Today, I am joined by Goran Duskic. Goran is a prolific website investor. He's founded multiple companies. He's had a couple of successes as well as an entrepreneur, successfully exiting his businesses. And today, he's going to give you some insight into his quite prolific website investing journey to date. As I said, Goran owns many websites. I believe the portfolio is now up to 50. Goran, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Blake. Thank you for this kind intro. I'm happy to be here, and hopefully I can contribute to the Flippa community.
Wonderful. So what we're going to do, Goran, is we're going to help out the big Flippa community that are first-time buyers to the platform. They're obviously very excited about getting into digital asset investing, be that as an investor or someone who's going to build, run, and ultimately grow an asset. Now, you're a successful entrepreneur. Before we get started, just give us a brief introduction to Who API, the business that you've been running for 9 years.
Yeah, so Who API is basically a set of APIs that helps developers around the world to integrate into their own systems for different reasons. For example, we've had clients like banks, but also website builders and web hosting companies, cybersecurity companies. So it's a really diverse crowd from around the world in the US, Australia as well, Japan. So it's a 24-hour gig, you can say. We've received angel and venture capital for this startup, and I suppose it's going okay compared to the businesses that fail, but also it's also going just okay compared to the big acquisitions and investing rounds you've been reading on TechCrunch, for example.
Yep.
So that's kind of the story about Who API.
Fantastic. Thank you. Sounds like a wonderful journey. Obviously, you've got some outstanding customers from around the world. So congratulations there. Now, let's get into your journey. As we said, you've got over 50 websites in the portfolio, but what made you get into this space to begin with?
Yeah, so I was looking for a way to save some money to create some sort of passive income, as I've been reading a lot of books about investing. And obviously, if you're reading books about investing from an American author, he's going to say real estate, which doesn't really apply to Croatia. If you look at the prices of the houses and the people moving away from Croatia, so it's not like we have an influx of immigrants and immigrants from like the United States. So it's a totally different ballgame. So I was looking for something else, obviously. And this was before the Bitcoin craze, before it shot up to like $20,000 or whatever. So I was looking into Bitcoin also, and read a few books about Bitcoin and talked to some Bitcoin investors. And I then realized I should really focus on something that I'm passionate about and something that aligns with my skill set and something that I could be working on for several years at least. So my first company was a web design, web hosting company, and we built websites for our clients here in Croatia. And I realized, well, I like building websites. I know pretty much everything about websites there is. I already have a systems administrator on the payroll. I have my own dedicated server. Maybe I could try this. Maybe I could start buying some websites and see how it goes. So the very first website I bought was obviously a scam, and I didn't do the proper due diligence, and I lost $2,000.
Okay.
And I asked my lawyer if we could do something about it, and he told me that the whole cost of suing somebody and the whole thing to go after him would cost around $2,000.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so I have to spend another 2,000 just to go after this guy. So I just said, okay, this is a learning experience. I learned how some data points could be manipulated.
Yeah.
And essentially, that was the first thing I looked into when I was going to do my second deal. But I didn't buy any websites for I think 2 years or maybe even more. before I was really comfortable and I had much more money to play with, and my approach was totally different. I wasn't even looking for the same type of deal, and my due diligence process was also different.
Okay.
And anyway, to answer your question, the website I bought was chemistryjokes.com for $500.
Right.
I thought that was a great deal. I thought that the main name itself was worth $500. And so that's, I suppose, a point you can take. If you know a value of a domain name, you could buy the website itself just for the domain name, and then the revenue is kind of just just a bonus, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense, particularly if it's an aged domain name and it's got some domain authority to it. And so what is your strategy? So you own 50 websites. What is the approach that you're actually taking? What interests you about the sites you buy? Are they all the same? What's the strategy?
Well, my strategy changes. So, for example, when I was buying my first few websites, my strategy was, okay, let's see how this process of buying and moving the website really works. What sellers are out there? What do I want to look into the seller? So it was more a learning process of everything, of positioning myself as an investor, or I should say a buyer, to the seller. See how to communicate, because not all people are the same. You are dealing with sellers in Asia, in America, in Europe. They all have different vocabulary, different styles of selling. Some are first-time sellers, some are repeat sellers. So there's a learning curve if you're a newbie. So that's one strategy. Just learn as much as you can, right? Yeah. Then the second strategy for me was building my portfolio and seeing, okay, what works for me, what works in a website, what kind of niches I want to work on. And this also changes, because sometimes you feel, oh, I really want to do, I don't know, gaming. I want to do gaming websites. And then you realize, with the games, there are trends, games come and go. I don't know, Flash is now dying. So if you bought some websites that have Flash games, this is obviously gonna go down over the years. So you begin to learn about trends, and you start to build your portfolio. And then third strategy for me, which I'm currently at, is I'm trying to condense my portfolio. I'm trying to combine some of the smaller websites into some bigger websites. And obviously, if you're doing great and your budget increases, at first you're buying just small websites, and then you're going to grow into medium websites, and hopefully to some large websites. And then again, your strategy changes with the size of the deals you're involved in.
Yep.
So that's kind
How
of
do you define as small, medium, and large?
Well, I suppose the easiest way would be on your budget. Up to a couple $1,000s would be a small, and then a medium up to mid 5 figures, maybe 3 figures, depending on where you're from, and then above 6 figures, you would say it's a large deal. But then again, I think it also depends where you're from. If you're in the United States and you say somebody, this website is making $1,000, you can't do anything with $1,000. But if you're in Eastern Europe, like I am, you have no college tuition, no college debt, you own the real estate you live in, and you bought the car that you're driving. Obviously, you don't have any debt. Then $1,000 is pretty much all you need for a really nice life here. So it really depends also where you live.
Yep, super interesting. Now, you mentioned to me through the beginnings of when you and I were getting to know each other, you mentioned that it's really important the people you surround yourself with. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, as a website investor, people and tools is something that you're working on and working with every day throughout the day. When you start buying and selling websites, you're going to do the due diligence and check up on the website, see if the backlinks are there, see if the keyword the keyword position is there, if the website is opening quickly, if it's slow, if it has SSL certificates installed, all that. So you need some proper tools to check on the website, like, you know, like a doctor. And then the people are also really important, because as soon as you start buying and selling websites, you are going to be dealing with people. And if you're lucky, like I have been, and you encounter some good sellers, you're going to be interacting with them on a repeat basis. Some of these sellers have also particular skills, let's say in SEO, in social media, and they could be offering you some services to build up the websites that you bought from them.
Yep.
So you're going to deal with those people, and it's really important that these people are, you know, trustworthy, skillful, experienced, ethical, and that you're on the same page with them.
And so you mentioned people, you've bought a lot of websites. Now, are you tending to buy multiple websites from the same person?
I'm agnostic, so I buy off the marketplace. I bought, and I do buy from, let's say, some forums where I see websites advertised. And then if I find a repeat seller who has a good portfolio, good websites to sell, we stay on a weekly basis in touch. Some of them are, I consider my friends now. We talk about you know, about everything. So I do buy, and I do buy, let's say, there was this few times actually where I bought a small portfolio of websites. The person would want to focus on some new venture, or wants to get out of it completely, or has some old websites just lying around, and then I just take them off the table for them. And for me, it's an asset to either build a bigger website, or just to have it as a passive income, just lying around, and an active website that's bringing in some revenue.
Okay. So let's imagine that you're on a marketplace, or you're in a forum, and you come across a website. What are the top three? What are the top things that you look for before you make a decision as to whether you inquire or not?
Sure. Well, that's a great question, because that would reveal how experienced I am, or how knowledgeable I'm not, or I am. So I would say that's a learning process. You know, right now I'm seeing that old websites tend to do better. They don't disappear overnight.
Yeah.
So age is a crucial factor, I would say. That's one. Second is, it has to fall under my budget. So if it's an opportunity that would ask me to invest, let's say $50,000 or $100,000, it would I would risk too much of my money. So it's a deciding factor for me. So that would be the second, and then third. I would say either it would have to fit into my portfolio, like a diversity, or something I could use it with some of other websites I have, or it would have to emphasize some of the skill sets that I have, or that my team has.
Yep.
So I don't know, a good example would be a website built with Django. I bought a website that was built in Django, and it was an old website in the graphic design industry, and I really liked it, but it was in Django. And obviously buyers tend to like WordPress, and they weren't, you know, excited about this Django website.
Yeah.
I asked my developer, you know, what do you think about Django? He's like, sure, yeah, I'd love to work on a website built in Django. So I bought it, and this still is one of the best websites that I bought. So you have to look for deals that would cater to your skill set, or your team's skill set, if you have a team.
Okay. Now let's talk about after that. So you've decided that you're interested in inquiring. It's suited your portfolio. It's got some nice age about it, and you are interested in the subject matter.
Afford it.
Afford it. Okay, so you've now inquired. What is it that you're specifically as a buyer going to ask this seller? How do you start off the dialogue?
Well, first of all, I don't expect for him to discover something that's bad about the website or something that's good about the website.
Yep.
You have to take responsibility, and you have to know these things. So that I take care of that by myself. Obviously, if the seller is willing to help, I listen to it. But if you've ever bought a used car, it should really, go into one ear and out the other. So what I'm really looking for with the seller is what kind of a person he is, what kind of background he has, where he's from, just get to know him on a personal level.
Yep.
And then try to figure out why he's selling. As I mentioned before, some of them want to, I don't know, they got a full-time job, and I don't know, at Google or some big company, and they need 100% to focus on it, and they have to sell those, let's say, several small websites they own. So that's kind of one scenario, and you really have to familiarize yourself with the seller and see why he is selling the website. So
Okay.
that's kind of what I'm looking for with the seller.
Okay. And what about actual website performance? What are you going to analyze?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna try to figure out if the revenue is really there. Obviously, I'm buying websites with revenue, so that's a crucial component. So I'm gathering as much evidence as I can about the revenue from the seller, of course, with the screenshots and the video, if it's possible. And that's kind of one thing. But the other thing is you have to be able to explain to yourself if this is supporting the revenue that's being generated. If the website doesn't have a lot of traffic, or if the traffic is suspicious, and you can't connect the dots between the revenue and the traffic that's being generated by the website, that's something that I would either try to investigate or talk with the seller, or I would just completely avoid the deal. Just look for a new deal.
Yep.
You have to be able to see either on Google or on social media or somewhere else this traffic being generated and this revenue being generated. If I don't see it, I'm out of there.
And
I don't even talk to the seller.
How are you verifying revenue other than the data points that have been provided to you from the seller?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because that was my first downfall. I was thinking that I validated the revenue. I saw the screenshots and I thought that the revenue was there, but then the revenue was faked, and my AdSense account got banned, and the whole spiel happened. I'm trying to verify how the revenue is being generated. Is the website there for, let's say, top 3 keywords on Google? Is the video that's so popular on the website, is it being liked and shared on YouTube? I'm always looking for the background. That's kind of I have to be able to connect the dots, how this revenue is being generated. And then the proof that the seller is showing is just a bonus. If I see the AdSense screenshot, if I see the Amazon affiliate screenshots, that's kind of a bonus. That's the one piece of the puzzle that I'm trying to connect with the whole ecosystem of the website and how the website is working.
Okay. So let's talk through negotiation a little bit. Once you've got some more comfort in who the seller is, once you've gone through and you've verified some of the information, how do you decide? Obviously, they've got an asking price, but how do you decide what a fair and reasonable price is, and what's your current view on multiples?
the worst answer. It depends, and it changes over time. Obviously, the multiples are going up, and up. So who knows how that's gonna proceed? I think today they're around 30x on a monthly basis. But then again, it depends on the age of the website and other factors, and how experienced the seller is, who the seller is. If some sellers are asking 40x multiples, and obviously they have the right to do this because they've pre-vetted the website, they worked on the website, they know the website bottom up, they know what the website is capable of. So that's also a good multiple if it's something that you can work with.
Yep.
But I've also bought websites with 10x multiples. They are riskier. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to be prepared for the website to tank, basically, just to delete it off your portfolio. And there, if this happens, you can also you can have like a backup plan if the website has a valuable domain name, or you can reuse the domain name for a different purpose, or park it on another website that you own. Then you can basically limit your downside on a deal that has gone bad.
And how much of your decision is based on the prior companies, or the prior 12 months performance versus future opportunity? I often say that buyers are looking for opportunity, but they pay for performance.
Mm-hmm.
What's your general viewpoint? And when you're looking at an acquisition, no doubt you do have an eye to opportunity, but how do you think about opportunity and its relationship to your the ultimate buy price?
Oh, that's a tough question. I would agree with what you've said, and also I would add to that. It depends on your strategy, why you are buying the website. If you're buying the website for the opportunity, something that you plan to build, to create, to grow, I would say then it's more important the opportunity. But then if you're looking for the passive income, to not work so much on the website, to just let it ride until it rides, and then if it dies off, it dies off, then you're more focused on the past performances. So I would say it depends on the strategy and on the buyer, what he's looking for and what he's planning to do with this purchase.
Understood. Okay, to finish up, what is your number one tip for a new buyer?
Number one tip. Number one, I have several, but what would be the number one? I would say the number one tip. Well, the number one thing is this is going to sound philosophical, like know yourself, but it is. You have to know what you are doing with what you want to achieve. Is it passive income? Is it big opportunity? Is it this side gig for you? Is it going to be a permanent employment because it can grow into it? I would say you have to know why you're doing this. If you're doing this for the quick buck, you're probably going to fail, you're going to lose money, so don't do it. If it's going to be a long-term thing for you, then you have to have a certain approach. Number one tip would be first sit down, take a piece of paper and write, what am I trying to do with this?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. And one of the things we see at Flippa a lot is that people are buying their next job. And so their next job, they need to expect to be paid like it was a career. And so that means having subject matter expertise. So when you go to work, you're typically hired because you have subject matter expertise, and your boss or your employer expects you to be able to do a job very well. It's no different with the acquisition of a website. You should buy something that you actually feel comfortable running.
Of course. Yeah, you need to know your skill set. You need to know who you are, because maybe you're a great, let's say, graphic designer or a salesman or something, but maybe you're not that good at updating your WordPress website. Maybe you're not that technical. Maybe you're not. I don't know. You don't have the budget to buy the best website that's best for you. If you're expecting a certain level of revenue, obviously you're going to have money to invest into this website. So it really depends on the situation and the thing you're after. You know, the future that you're looking forward to.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Goran. It's been an absolute pleasure. A really, really insightful interview with someone who does this regularly. And that's hugely valuable for the Flippa community. We've got lots of first-time buyers who are out there looking for their first acquisition. And so to hear from someone like you is hugely valuable. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I mean, thank you very much for inviting me. I hope it's been helpful to the Flippa community, to first-time buyers. Obviously, I've been a member of this community for a few years now, and I'm really excited about what the future holds, and I'm excited with the Flippa community growing and becoming more experienced. And as the sellers are, and also the buyers, these are the people that I will also interact with and look for the websites there to buy and to sell. So I'm really hoping that it becomes an even better place than it is today.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Blake. Have a great day, and greetings to everybody at the Flippa.